Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. Or when they listen, it might be Saturday.
Oh, happy Saturday, everyone. Very shocking. A lot of things we need to update the fans with before we go into our mother-daughter topics. Number one, O.J. Simpson died.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how you felt about that, um, given the fact you weren't even born when the whole thing went down with the car chase and the murder, and your thoughts regarding that. And then I want to talk about two other things that I was shocked about as well. So let's start with OJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was shocked that OJ died because I didn't even know he had cancer. I guess I wasn't paying close attention. I do know that he had said that he wasn't in hospice a little bit ago. He had done an interview. I thought he was like giving bets on the Super Bowl. I had no idea he was downhill like this, his health. But the reason I feel like it's touched me the way everybody reacted, like, oh my God, his kids, I feel bad for, but he 100% killed his wife. And it's just like terrible what he did. And I feel like a lot of our thoughts were like, good riddance, because of what he did. And it just is not even worth being upset over, obviously, because what he had done. But I grew up, I just feel like it was such a staple, even though I wasn't alive when it happened. I watched the show on FX that was the trial. It was like a portrayal of it. I watched that. I just grew up knowing all about it. I used to watch media coverage on it. I don't know why. Maybe it was like true story or something like that. But even though I wasn't alive for it, I feel like I know everything about the case and I was invested in it. And just growing up, finding out more details. I have a friend whose mom was a cop in the Hollywood division during that time, and she had seen Nicole during the domestic violence accusations. I heard the 911 tape. It's just so devastating. And obviously the system failed her. And it's just crazy that he was acquitted for that. And then wrote a book, If I Had Done It. And it like detailed what, if he had done it, what he would have done, which is insane and crazy. So I just feel that even though I wasn't alive, it still has the same weight on me as it does other people who lived through the trial.
Yeah, and I think you are very unusual because you love news, you love mystery, you're drawn to that type of stuff. I know growing up and even now you watch a lot of those shows, Law and Order, Criminal Minds. And so you make a really good point, even though you weren't alive, as you've come to grow up in this world, his name would come in and out. He was definitely acquitted, but then he made another pop, huge mistake, which was so ironic when he landed in jail, which should have been for many more years. It was 9 years, I believe. He was supposed to be in jail for like 33 years for kidnapping and for robbery of memorabilia that
Right.
he felt had been taken from him. And what's so ironic about that part is that he ultimately went to jail, but not for the original thing that
Right.
people were more vested about. I bet if you ask people, they wouldn't even know as much about that, the kidnapping and the memorabilia, as to he was a great athlete and he got off from killing his wife. So that whole era was very interesting that he did end up going to jail. And I don't know why he got out so much sooner than he should have, but he didn't even serve the full amount. And it didn't feel like justice because he went to jail kind of for the wrong thing,
Right.
so to speak. I personally would like to see or read that book. You said it's a book, not a movie, if I did it. So that's something I'd like to really read because I
Right.
find that fascinating to hear he would say something and almost like he's looking for trouble, like, oh, this is ingenious. This is what I would do, and because I would wonder, not having read the book, did he detail what he actually did? Or did he do something so much far-fetched that
Right.
would not connect him to the murders by reading what the book said?
Right.
What do you think? Do you think the book, would evaluate
I didn't
him?
look into it too much, but I'm curious to know too. I mean, how stupid, obviously there's double jeopardy, so he couldn't be charged again for the same crime. But that whole thing is so weird, so crazy that he would even write a book, or even if it's nothing to do with the crime and it's If I Had Done It, why even put that out there? And also the fact that he got arrested later on for kidnapping and the memorabilia theft just shows he was a criminal. So if he
And
could do that, what else could he do, obviously?
yeah, and I didn't know he had cancer. It was interesting. Last night I watched a little bit of the news on CNN, and they were interviewing different people had been around during that time, during the trial and whatnot. And one of the things that was so interesting is that, you talk about you weren't around. They talk about in that day and age, cell phones were newer. I
Mhm.
think someone said there weren't cell phones, but I think there were cell phones in 94
Okay,
because I
maybe.
remember getting a cell phone from dad when I was dating and I got married in 93. So they talked about the cell phone issue, which I thought was interesting. They talked about, because I think he had a cell phone, because I remember when they were doing the car chase, he was in the car and he was on a phone.
Then
And
yeah.
then and then the second thing that you brought up that I was thinking about that they talked about last night was the fact that in those days there wasn't MSNBC, there weren't all these news channels, there weren't all this internet stuff. So that was the story of the century. And that was something, like they said, like from the 60s and 70s, when the president got shot, Kennedy and all that stuff. Like this was something that was newsworthy, that everybody would stop and pull over and listen when there was a breaking thing about him or new
Yeah.
information, because of the fact that in my generation, media was so, you know, just beginning. It
Mhm.
was not as advanced as it is today, or even had the resources that they could to get that information out in so many different avenues. What were you going to
I
say?
was reading in this group chat I'm in, like for celebrity news, that people had said they were in middle school. Their teachers announced the verdict over the loudspeaker from the trial. They let the class like watch it live on television because
Oh
obviously
my
the
gosh.
teachers were interested and they wanted to see what happened. And
Wow.
everyone, it was like the trial of the century and how inappropriate they had their middle schoolers. But they literally announced the verdict over the loudspeaker. Another teacher let it like play live on class, everything. People were so invested back then.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it funny when they say, well, MSNBC wasn't there and there was a lack of communication from the media. And it's like, as we go through these time periods as a mother-daughter, and you're mature, so you kind of like, there are people your generation that wouldn't even care about what happened then or what happened with OJ Simpson, like who's that or whatever. But you're so self-aware of what goes on with technology, even so much that you can reflect back to my generation when things were so simplistic. And we've often touched upon this on the podcast about the technology and how different it is today, and how it's a positive thing, but it's also not a positive thing. It's very negative, but then it's a blessing in other ways to get that information out. But then it's not positive because sometimes the information is funneled in a negative way. Or, how many times I write you and I'm like, wait, I just read something on the internet or on Facebook, and you're like, that's not a true story. And so I'm like, oh, but why is it out there then? Freedom of speech, but you look at it, it looks so real, and then you have to look at where the source is coming from. So
Right.
it's just crazy that OJ Simpson ended up dying. The family said they want their privacy, which was kind of ironic because, I kind of lost touch with who he was. Once he got out of jail and he went to Florida and then he moved to Vegas, I lost touch with who he was. I did see something that they showed. Like, that's what's so crazy about media. I was like trying to look back to say, oh, what did he look like a few months ago? And he posted right before the Super Bowl
Yeah, that's
that
what
he was
I'm
doing a
saying.
Super Bowl party and that he's fine. And hospice, I'm not in hospice, and that kind of stuff. So you wonder, you know, was he really, he didn't look sick, he didn't act sick. Was he in denial? Did he not know what's going on? Did the media know more than he did? Like,
Yeah.
so weird that that was already out. And he was just like a straight face saying no hospice. But then again, he is kind of a liar and he's been known to not tell the truth. So I was wondering what you thought about that, like from the
Yeah,
media
I
perspective.
agree. I definitely thought that was really sketchy because I had seen that too. So maybe he was just about to go into hospice, or like you said, maybe he was out of it and he just didn't want anyone to know the truth. But
Yeah.
it was very strange. Wonder if he even had a Super Bowl party. Who even knows? But I saw that his kids, I think, had to sign an NDA. I think everybody who was around his deathbed signed NDAs
Oh,
or something. So they
for
can't
what?
really speak out. They can't speak out about his last final words, maybe, or anything like that.
Who would make them so? Oh, they mean the family were like, if you're around our
Maybe it
dad, we
was the
don't want you.
estate. Maybe it was the estate. Maybe it wasn't even
Oh,
his kids.
okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, his
That's
lawyer.
crazy. So, reading what you can believe, going on to the next topic. This morning I had a shock of my life. I was drinking my coffee and I popped up on in the internet, and before I did my workout, because I'm not a morning, my workouts start in the afternoon or evening, early evening, depending on my day. And yeah, I'm like in awe of what,
Well, in
like,
shock.
well, yeah, I shouldn't say awe. I'm in shock. I'm like very tired because I've been reading a lot about this today, and I took a double take. I said, okay, Alexander told me these outlets are not real. Where's the source? Where's this thing I'm going to tell the audience about? And I looked, and right away it was Good Morning America. So I knew what I'm about to reveal was true. And then
Yep.
I had your father look it up and play a video, a short snippet. And what I'm going to reveal is, yes, da da da, drum roll. I'll give you a hint. Golden drum roll. And we know because I broke the news to you. Breaking news, Debbie Belushi. It's 6:30 in the morning there. And I would letting you know what happened as you were getting ready for your workout. The Golden Bachelor, they broke up. Yes, I said it. They were married for 3 months. They're getting the big D, divorce. And one of my girlfriends thought it was cancer because she didn't know. She goes, oh, does one of them have cancer? I said, worse. It's worse than cancer. Divorce, meaning like at least cancer they didn't bring on themselves. Divorce, they both seem like they want to be divorced.
Yeah.
And I don't buy it. I think there must be, you talked about NDA, non-disclosure. They're saying it's for reasons of they can't pick a place to live. Like, hello, hello.
Didn't you know that before you guys got engaged
Right.
that you would have to move one way or the other? Because that's what I was thinking from the beginning. What do you do when you have two people who are older and they already have families established in different states?
Right. They're in their 70s. Um, Growing up, I love my grandparents, but I saw my grandparents a few times a year. Okay. They lived in Florida. My one grandmother eventually moved to Connecticut and was in Connecticut and Florida when my grandfather passed. But my grandparents were not like my parents. I wasn't raised by them. And from what I saw, Jerry Turner's grandchildren are much older than Teresa Nist's grandchildren, and that she is very close to her daughter and son. He's close to his daughters. However, my girlfriend told me today that when they were looking at houses in South Carolina, which I thought was a great idea, they would compromise. Neither one would give up just, oh, I'll live where you live or you live where I live. They picked a neutral place. My friend told me today that her son, Teresa Nist's son, lived only an hour away from South Carolina. So there you go. You're close to your son. If you stay in New Jersey, you're not close to your son, but you're close to your daughter. So was she closer to her daughter, or was that just an excuse that she doesn't even care about being near her kids because she's staying in New Jersey? She's still far from her son now. She's not any closer to her son. You know, if she goes to South Carolina, she'd be closer to her son. So my point is, was it really for her daughter, her son, or was it just because they're having marital woes? Is she finding out that there's issues with him and they just can't, it's tight-lipped because it's ABC? The woman that interviewed them from Good Morning America, I think, if I'm not mistaken, she's doing a full interview tonight on Dateline because they showed a snippet of it. But she did bring up that fact, Alexandra. You guys knew that you were going to make it work. You guys said it doesn't matter. When you love someone, you make it work. So what happened to that? And let me tell you, Alexandra, it was weird. They were sitting next to each other, touching he's kissing her hand. We love each other. We're still going to be friends. We both want each other to move on. You're in your 70s. And if this doesn't work, is it because like something else is going on? And if it is based on geographics, then guess what? The next time you have a bachelor or bachelorette, golden or not golden, pick people that live close by or that don't care to move.
Right.
Like it makes no sense. Like these women that were on the Golden Bachelor must be like, oh my God, thank God he didn't pick me.
Unless they
Because
wanted to live in Indiana or they were like, well, I would
you know,
have.
were any of them, and I mean, I know Faith was not, and she wasn't going to move. What about Joan? Was Joan
Right.
going to move? Was Leslie going to
Oh,
move?
Joan was never going to move. She left because her daughter needed her. You think she was ever going to leave her daughter? No.
Right,
And the
right,
thing is, I just feel that I understand that some people want to be close to their grandkids and their adult kids, like, because that's their family. They raise their
right.
family, they want to stay nearby. But I think the reason why they got married is part of it was like, well, I'd rather go through with this, get the fame, get the wedding on TV, get my name out there, whether it works out or not. If I even
Oh,
want to move or not. I mean, I would go through with all of that because it still gives you the exposure and the fame. And it looked way better than, from the beginning being like, well, we don't know if we're going to make it. I mean, they went through with the wedding before they even lived together. So you're telling me that they've been married for 3 months, living in separate states?
yes.
It just feels in the wedding wasn't even real. It was just for television and it was just produced to give
Because
height.
they never lived together. And that's
Yeah.
weird. When did you guys go looking at places? That's weird to me. That how long did they look? And if Teresa has money, I know they had a prenup. Why couldn't they do something where they lived somewhere in between and then they also went and visited or had like a little tiny condo in Indiana or flew the kids out or something? I mean, you should be living for yourself, not for your children, your grandchildren. You're in your 70s. You're not getting any younger. You went on this to the audience like us. You're right. It looks like it was done in just like either naivety, just being naive, we're gonna love each other, or or is it that they just wanted the fame and glory? You know, you mentioned this,
A
but
mix of both. I think
yeah,
that
I
I would
think so
rather have
too.
gone through with the wedding and do all that and then decide everything after than come that far and not have a TV wedding. I mean, I think it was kind of in the contracts that they had to have a TV wedding. Did they even honeymoon in Italy?
No, they were supposed to do the honeymoon in May. That's my other thing. Why
Oh,
was the honeymoon waiting till May?
yeah.
Why were they waiting till May? Did ABC suggest that? Was it because they were trying to get everything finalized? Why wasn't there a honeymoon? Like right after they got married. It's not like they had to go to their responsibilities. Very weird. Very weird. And the fact that they rushed this marriage was weird too. If they needed to find the logistics of where they were going to live, why didn't they get married like 6 months, a year later? Why just like a month later? The whole thing seems fishy and it seems very unbelievable and it seems very depressing for a lot of people, especially the golden people that really had hope and love in their heart that they would love to shoot for that and be done maybe with, some of the dating sites, maybe doing it a different way. They said, Teresa and Jerry did say that they wanted to go on to show and not discourage the unity of love and how they still feel that and other people can have it too. And they didn't want people to get discouraged.
Well, this is kind of discouraging. You were married for
Right.
3 months and then now you don't know where you want to live. I mean, I don't know if that's the truth or not, or if
I
they
know.
have nothing in common because they live in separate states and they don't actually know each other that well. Again, you're in a love bubble on The Golden Bachelor. So obviously everything is heightened, emotions
Right.
are heightened. You're in this fame, you have all these cameras, people look up to you, and then you're filmed for and you're living in the same house for all these weeks. And then you have a wedding. And to go from all that back to real life, maybe they just had nothing in common after.
Right. Right. Well, that's why the whole thing, I kept thinking about that Leslie who was in the running. She must be so happy. Like,
Or
thank
really
God.
devastated that it's like, hello, that could have been, or angry, that it could have been her.
Right.
Would have moved.
Or like maybe she feels really bad for Teresa
Well,
because she
hey,
like
who knows? Maybe he might reach out to Leslie.
that's what I was thinking. Was she willing to move? Was Teresa,
But she
Leslie
probably
willing?
will like be like, screw you. I don't want to be a runner up. Like now maybe
Yeah.
she doesn't want him. Or maybe they will reconnect.
I
Right.
never ever felt comfortable with this guy. Like I always liked her. And Teresa seems to me like a little bit like a young, youthful little girl. Like, remember Loretta? She
Hmm.
reminds me of Loretta, my uncle's mom, who's always like so young at heart and youthful and just positive and positive energy. And I just think I was shocked, Alexandra, because, a few days ago it said in the headlines, they're living separately because they have to figure out where they're going to live, but everything's all good. They're doing great in their long distance relationship. I mean, what a joke. Where did they get that from? Because if
Crazy.
you interviewed them directly, you would have known that's not true. They're not doing great.
Right.
So part of it was true. They're living separately. The part that wasn't true is they're not happy together.
I know.
That geographics is the reason.
I mean, I get it, but wouldn't that be something that was decided ahead of time unless one person lied? I don't understand how you waited until 3 months after being married to decide this major thing. If geography was a big thing, why didn't that come up before? I thought they were saying they were okay with moving, they were okay with getting a neutral house that was close to both things. But again, Teresa has young grandsons, so she probably doesn't want to leave Jersey.
Yeah. But you would think like I would feel like, not to be sexist, he should have been the one to move because she seemed more tied. His kids are grown and
Yeah.
his grandchildren are adult girls. You think they're sitting there, oh, grandpa's leaving. Boo hoo hoo. Now we're so sad. Grandpa's moving. Like, come on. Like, that's why, because you want to be with your daughters and I don't buy it. I do not buy it. And ironically, dad was talking today to his client at 3:30, which he's probably talking to her right now as we speak, who's Teresa Nis niece.
Mhm.
That's Dad's client, as we talked about earlier on when this whole process started. So I bet she's shocked. I bet she had no idea. I mean, she's
Is he gonna
close to,
ask her?
he was going to ask her. She's close to her cousin, her first cousin, which is Teresa's daughter. So be interesting to see, but I'm sure everybody's tight-lipped
Mhm.
or kept out of the, the truth, So that, those two things were shocking to me,
Yeah.
revelations. And then the third thing that I was so sad about is that the talk, again, I read it online. I'm like looking on the email and I'm looking in the story and I'm looking at Amanda Klutz to see if this is true. And it is. The talk is going to be heading to the end next December. One more season. I think it's the last week of filming this week or next week. I don't know, maybe May. Said it's coming to an end. I don't think this week is the last show, but I don't know. But the actual final season is next December. And I sent you something, Alexandra. I couldn't believe this. It's in place of maybe a soap opera.
Yeah, you said
I
that.
stopped watching my soap operas. General Hospital, I watched for so long. What soap opera is
Maybe
coming?
Amanda will have a role on it because she did the Bold and the Beautiful. So maybe that was a
Yeah.
transition for her.
I mean, there's so much she can do. I'm not doubting that she'll be have plenty of other things, maybe more flexible because being one of the hosts on the TV show, that's got to be a lot of demand. But
Mhm.
what's your thought about that? It was on for 15 years, 14 years, although they only had a role on it the last few years.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's run its course. It's been 15 years. There's only so many things they can do, or maybe they didn't have the viewership or the numbers or anything like that.
I mean, I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to be on it
Mhm.
and, get to do it. And I plan to meet her again and work out with her, but so disappointed that it's ending. But do you know anything about this soap opera that's coming our way or no?
No, what did it say? It said the grounds or something or the group.
Yeah, like it sounds like a big, almost like, I almost felt like
It's
it's going to
new.
be like Dallas at night, but during the day. But, I thought soap operas for the most part were a done deal. I mean, I know there's very few left on air. I used to dabble in a lot, but my two primary ones, as everyone knows, was General Hospital and Days of Our Lives. I dabbled in As the World Turns, One Life to Live. I never watched Another World. I watched A Little Guiding Light. There were so many. Now there's like Bold and Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, um, and Young and the Restless. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see what they'll be replaced with. I doubt Amanda's going to want to do something where she's a regular. I think she's going to do more stuff with guest roles and guest events. And her book, I heard, is becoming, I don't know if it's becoming an acted out play. I'm not sure.
And that takes
But
time if she wants to have creative
yeah,
say in that, she'll probably be a part of that.
yeah. But you
She a
see,
lot.
it's never
Guaranteed.
secure.
No,
Never secure. It sounds like the network. So it was ABC that
CBS.
probably, oh, CBS. Oh my God, that's right. CBS that decides
Right.
we're not happy or we
Or the
want more,
numbers aren't there, or the
numbers
budget
aren't
isn't
good.
there.
Because people were writing, I can't believe it. Why
Probably the
would,
budget. I mean, a lot of these stations can't keep budget because everything is streaming now and everything cable has gone down and viewership has gone down.
but they're still gonna have to pay people. This is what I don't understand for the soap opera.
Well,
There's,
maybe that's what sells. Maybe The Bold and the Beautiful, which is on CBS, does so well that they want to do
yeah.
another soap opera, or maybe it's cheaper to make a soap opera. Who knows? So those are some of our headlines. Let's get into some mother-daughter topics, and then we'll wrap up with some reality TV recaps.
So I wanted to get right into it about makeup because I thought this would be a fun topic today to discuss based on the fact that I keep saying 30, 26.
Why would you say that? That's absolutely insane. And
It's
it's
in
so
my mind and I'm 57, but that would make me older. So I don't know why I want to say 30. But basically makeup has changed so much. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts growing up and the do's and don'ts now and back then and how it's evolved.
Yep.
Basically, growing up with skincare, it was more about the makeup and not so much like you might see commercials, wash your face and use Dove soap, but it wasn't the degree of skincare that they really delve into nowadays with like basically, you know, you want to make sure that when you wash your face, you don't just use a special cleanser. You use something that's a pre-cleanser, like,
Like
before
an
you get
oil based and then a full
right.
cleanser. And everybody says that the key to good makeup is good skincare prep. Everybody says that. So it's so crazy that back in the 80s or like it was just makeup, makeup, makeup. But nowadays it's like what
And Yeah, it was make a big big, and then like, okay,
Skincare.
just wash your face. Just wash your face. So what? Wash your face with skincare,
Right.
right? It wasn't like, okay, to wash your face, you need to do this step and then that step, and then you need to add this step, and then you need to add this oil. And so with everything, with the way life has changed, with advertising, with the amount of makeup that's come into stores, we've also seen this whole evolution of skincare, just as much a big deal as the makeup. So you could go into like what they do now is Sephora, Ulta, not just CVS's, not just pharmacies. In my day, it was more about the pharmacies. Now it's in the malls, it's the makeup stores, and you're not going to just see makeup. You're going to see whole sections of just the skincare lines.
Right.
You could walk out with hundreds of dollars of skincare materials,
Yes.
not even having bought the makeup.
And I just feel that drugstore products have also leveled up. I feel like a lot of drugstore companies for makeup and skincare have such great dupes at a reasonable price, like Cetaphil, CeraVe, those stuff, those
Yeah.
brands are drugstore brands. Then they're so
Right,
good.
right. And so what I've done is with Olivia, she's given me a lot of great stuff going back to the CVS's to get the eyebrow gels. We never had eyebrow gels. Now there's eyebrow gels to fill in eyebrow gels. All this stuff, Elf, it's called Elf.
I love Elf. Yeah.
Elf. I also have a highlighter that I use from the talk show host Drew Barrymore. Her
Oh,
line. I think it's her line, right?
I didn't even know she had a line.
I think she does. I gotta check, and I'm pretty sure that's what I've been using. Love it. Love it.
I mean, celebrities never had skincare back in your day, did they? Like celebrities
No,
didn't come out with
no,
skincare lines or
no.
makeup
It was
lines.
just people talking about it, like a commercial about skincare, but it wasn't a celebrity marketing it.
So, and but
Because,
I feel like the celebrity skincare makeup brands are so overdone. I don't even trust them. I think Rihanna
right,
has Fenty Beauty is amazing, right?
right.
Makeup by Mario. He was a makeup artist for the Kardashians.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
I
don't,
love him. Love
yeah,
him.
love him. But I don't trust most celebrity brands because it's like you're just slapping your name on products that have already been made. Why
Right.
I actually like going to like the Cliniques back in the day, or like brands that were made for that.
Just go for it. Don't go for it because that's who's representing it.
Right.
Go for it because that's what it is. You don't need the actress icon,
Yeah.
actor. You don't see that many actors
Brad
talking.
Pitt has a skincare line, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, there's
Yeah.
not many men's lines.
Sephora doesn't have men, right? They don't have men.
I
I think they
mean, like men brands. I don't know if
brands.
there even
I think
are any men
I
brands.
think they only have like the
Well,
colognes.
Makeup by Mario. Duh. I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I guess Chris.
No, I don't mean men that do it. I mean for men. Skincare for men. Like when we
I
go
think
in,
maybe Kiehl's, Khiels, Kiehl's.
that you can get at
But
Lord&
also, yeah,
Taylor's or
you get, I
Macy's.
know. I don't. Yeah.
So I wonder, like, I'm just thinking, like, when I go in, of course, there's men that do these skin lines, but for men, like for dad, like, is there something for
I
a
don't think
special
there's much marketed towards like if you're a manly man and you want this like black cedar
eye
flame
cream or
body
eye cream?
wash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. The serums are so big now. Like, I never use serums. Again, wash my face. I never had this step
So what
before.
soap did you use?
I think I used regular soap, whatever I had in my
And
house. I
how'd you
didn't.
take your eye makeup off?
That was another thing. It's funny you should bring that up. In those days, and now I do it now, in the 80s, I wore eyeliner in the waterline in the eye. For so long, I stopped doing that. And it was very easy to get that off. I would just wash my face. Maybe I'd use Vaseline, but then I went back to putting the eyeliner in my eyes. And so I use Makeup Forever. I think it's Makeup Forever, that blue soap
Hmm.
foam. I just bought something new that Olivia wanted me to try. Forget that brand. Oh, Charlotte Tilbury, because I have to do 2 steps to get that eye makeup off. I can wash my face, but to get the
But I
eyeliner off,
told you to use the
I
oil
need
from Eminence. It's incredible and it gets
will
everything.
that get the eyeliner
Yes,
off?
I wear tons of makeup for the red carpet. The only thing I will use is Eminence Organics, the oil. It's the oil cleanser. It's all over your face. You do it
Okay.
dry and then you can add water to it. And I only have to do it once and it gets everything off. I wear eyeliner
So,
in the top waterline and the lower
all
waterline.
right. So I just got,
I
Olivia
can't
just
believe
ordered
you
me,
just.
yeah, she ordered me
Oh,
Charlotte
sweet.
Tilbury, and it's a oil base, just like you said, a
Okay.
small. My question for you is, what I'm doing for that is I'm not using it for my eyelids. I'm using it.
You should. You should use
You
it
know,
on your entire
all right,
face.
but what I'm doing is I'm dipping a Q-tip in it
Stupid.
and put
Stupid.
it on the water line.
Stupid.
You're saying just
Do
wipe.
your entire face because also, by the way, makeup takes a lot. You have to, in order to plot all that makeup, you need to use an oil cleanser all over, including your eyes. So why wouldn't you just wash your whole face and then you don't have to, instead of having to keep washing and washing with face wash, you do one oil wash and one regular foam wash, and it's done. And it goes so much deeper. The oil penetrates so
But
much.
I guess my question, if your eyes are closed, how do you get that eyeliner?
It comes out. It comes out. No matter if you close it, you rub it up. I do it and it just comes out.
It's so funny.
It's oil.
It's so heavy sometimes that I find I have to go through
It's
like.
not heavier than what I do for the red carpets. I put on
But
a
my
ton of
Q-tips, I
makeup.
keep dipping.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to do that? That's irritating to your eye. It can cause wrinkles. The eye area is so delicate. You don't want to keep rubbing and rubbing. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
rather have one cleanse?
That's true. That's true. I guess I'll have to try that. And it's funny you bring that up too, because the other thing in my day, I'm guilty. I don't know how many people are guilty. It's not a live show, but
Uh-oh.
I would say raise your hands.
Sleeping
How
with
many
your makeup?
times I went to sleep without taking my makeup off?
Terrible, terrible.
And I never broke out for that.
Neither does my
How
friend
many
Haley. I don't know
times?
if you call her out.
I like growing up was like, I know people now that don't even
Me
use
too.
stuff to wash their eyeliner off. Now I do. But in those days, if I was tired, I'll wash my face when I get up.
That's
I didn't
crazy.
skip brushing my teeth, but I wouldn't wash my face, let alone take the makeup off. You know how many times I went to sleep with mascara on my eyes?
Well, that makes me think, is it all fraud? Because everyone's like, don't sleep with your makeup. You'll get wrinkles, you'll age, and you look amazing. So am I just like being bamboozled like, by all the companies? I would never do that. That's like, no matter how tired I am, I would take my makeup off over brushing my teeth, 100%.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's so
That's so
crazy.
funny.
And it never
But
really
yeah, so
affected you.
that,
You
I
like the
mean,
blue eyeliner, and that's still in style. That was in
yeah, I
style.
went back. My friend doesn't like it. She said it looks too 80s, but I like it.
I love it. And you're
My
from
friend
the
likes,
80s, so who cares?
yeah, and then I do brown. Depends what I'm in the mood for.
How did
From
you learn to do your makeup growing up? Because I
Oh
would
my God,
watch
that's a
YouTube
funny thing. My
tutorials.
mother, that's the running joke. She never taught me. You know what? In our day, think about it. We didn't have like makeup
YouTube,
videos or
right.
YouTube. I just did, I'd go to the makeup counters and ask them.
Yeah.
And then I'd go home and try it. And I taught myself. My mother never helped me. My mother wore a lot of makeup. She wore a lot of the glitzy, the colors. She was
So why
very,
didn't she help?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I
So
can ask her.
what was the makeup routine like back then? Because now you have to contour, you have to bake, you have to do, all these different
None of it.
steps.
None of
What
it.
was it?
I would say from my memory, and I don't always have the best memory, I have a great memory in some ways. In other ways, I don't. I would say what stands out the most for me was blush. We called it blush. There was no contour. There was
We
no,
still have blush. Do you
I
mean
don't,
you used to call it rouge?
rouge. Yeah, blush or rouge. What do you call it?
Blush.
Blush. We called it rouge. Yeah, rouge or blush. Um, rouge. And, I remember Mary Kay and just ordering and having them come over to my house or Avon
Oh yeah.
over, and I bought a lot of that. But I don't remember contour,
No.
which is the bronzer
Hmm.
or the highlight. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I don't
And
even remember
powder.
foundation. I don't remember foundation, like cream foundation. I just don't remember as many
So
steps.
you would just put like blush on and foundation, like powder, like pressed powder.
I don't even think I think I put blush, eyeliner, mascara. I
Mm.
don't even know and then I remember for my wedding, I did my own makeup,
Ah,
like 10 minutes. I got my hair
that's
curled, like
crazy.
I had my hair curled. They used like perm rods to make it like really short and curly. And my makeup I went home and did myself.
People get makeup artists for that now.
We
No,
didn't even have eye base. I didn't even do an eye base.
that's
You put the primer. I
yeah.
have so many steps now that I do. Like it's like I'm cheating if I just put my eyeshadow on,
Yeah,
like if I don't put an eye base. Isn't
right.
that crazy?
It's crazy. And now I do my makeup backwards because the whole makeup artist hack is that you do your bronzer before your foundation. I used
What?
to do, yes, and it
Wait, what?
works. Oh, it's amazing.
What do
I
you
do my
mean?
bronzer before my foundation. So I put cream bronzer here and here, and then I do it with the brush, like, like a contour. And then over that, I put my foundation and my concealer, and then I go over it again with powder bronzer. It's amazing.
How do you see it then?
It shapes because what you're doing first is just contouring up. So it snatches your face up, gives you a little color, and then you at the end you put on bronzer, like the powder bronzer over it to make it color. But it's incredible. I think it's changed my makeup routine. That's what the
Oh,
celebrities do. I feel like my face looks so snatched. It gives like shape, and I love it. I will never go back to doing foundation first.
when did you start doing that?
Like in like maybe November for my birthday, I started. Like Olivia
Oh my
Jade,
God.
Lori Loughlin's daughter, has a YouTube channel and she does her makeup that way. I copy her exact routine and it hits every time I do it on the red
So
carpet.
you put the foundation on. That's why you look so pretty in the red carpet. You
Hmm.
put the foundation on first, the cream.
No,
I mean,
no,
the
yeah, the
contour.
cream bronzer on first.
Oh, it's a cream bronzer.
Yeah, it's a cream contour bronzer, same thing. You do that for,
After you put your foundation, or you put your foundation over it?
you put your foundation over it.
Wow. I would think that would just get rid of it.
Nope,
And
it makes those lines so that you're like shaped and you're snatched and you have some
I can't believe that.
natural glow.
You got to send me that. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
It's so good. You
Very,
should try doing her routine one day. She goes step by step. You should copy her step by step.
I
It's a
will.
great routine.
Wow. That's
Yeah, that's my
awesome.
secret. So, but it's just it evolved and changed over the years. And now, like, I love a dewy highlight there, my nose. I'll never let that go out of style, even if it does. I love that. I
Dewy
love,
highlight, like
yeah, like when we do highlighter, like I love when it's super dewy and glowy. Like I don't care if it's in
you
or
do
it's
it on your nose too.
not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Those
I do it here, nose.
Yep.
What other questions do you have for me? Because I feel like in my day, the makeup was the key, but also getting tan was the key. And it was really, I was guilty of it, get the oil, who cares if you burn? You go on vacation, you want to come back with a good tan. You don't want anyone to see that you're white. I'll never forget standing in my grandmother's kitchen in Boca Raton, Florida, and her saying, "Oh, wait, yes, wow, you're getting tan. You need a little more, Debbie. Keep going, keep going." Like, nothing about skin cancer. And like, oh my gosh, Debbie, you need to reapply that. Put a hat on. It was like, no, no, you're getting a good color.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
like
she's
it's almost,
not wrong. Color makes you glow and pretty and you look just
but
naturally gorgeous, but it's terrible for you. And my face
I
will
mean,
always be pale.
yeah, I got skin cancer twice in my forehead. It's probably why.
Yeah.
All because I was in Florida, trying to get sunburned and burned.
I've worn
And
sunscreen my whole life. I cannot believe that people only now learn to wear sunscreen. It's crazy to me.
it's crazy. The other thing I wanted to tell you is before I forget about the whole, sunscreen stuff and protecting from skin cancer, what do you think about going back to the makeup, the animal testing?
Yeah.
Because, Olivia always tells me MAC is no good. I love some of my best lipsticks are from
I
MAC.
love MAC. Me
And
too.
I use, they do animal testing. And what it's going to ask you, would you ever, I don't give it up as much as I love my dog and I love animals.
I do
I've
want to
never,
give that up. I think that's terrible. And I just feel like if every person in the world thought, well, I don't have to give it up because someone else will, that's why they'll never go out of business. Or maybe they'll never go out of business anyways because they're $1 billion company. But I feel like more people should be speaking up about that. I don't know why, but I feel like we could find dupes that are just as good with like Fenty, Makeup by
right,
Marco. I could.
right.
And I'm down. Like maybe I won't give up Whirl because I have Whirl and I have Snob, but maybe going forward, I won't buy any more for them. I think that's horrible. That is so cruel.
Yeah, I love
They
their
test on
lipsticks and
animals.
I keep lipsticks and well, lipsticks I don't keep as long, but my eyeshadows from them are like some of my favorite. And it
Don't
takes,
buy any more. Don't buy
I
any more.
know. And the thing is, I'm also very guilty of not throwing my makeup off. They say throw your makeup out after a few months or your mascara. I have makeup that I've had for 15 years.
Too expensive to get rid
I
of.
I know. It's like, so I wonder what your thought is about that. Like, is it just not as potent? Is it just
Yes.
not as good
I
for you?
think it's just not as potent. Here's the thing. I don't use things that expire like for my face. I break out from everything.
Right.
If my tinted moisturizer was expired, hopefully by that time I've used it all up. But if not, I
Yeah.
might throw that out. Maybe
Yeah.
for tinted moisturizer, but eyeshadow, no, I don't care. Eyeliner, don't care. I mean, if I still sharpen
Eyeliner, you're sharpening. Yeah,
yeah, mascara, if it dries up, I'll throw it out. But if it's not
yeah,
dried up, I'm not going to throw it out. Same with
exactly.
lipsticks. But my thing is with animal testing, I think that's horrible because back in the day, you guys didn't know what clean makeup was. There was no such thing as clean
Right.
makeup with
Right.
ingredients as well as cruelty free for animal testing. And nowadays it's so prevalent. And I feel like that's sometimes the number one thing people look for. But imagine those poor rabbits and like their eyes are getting burnt. And like, how is testing, how does that even go? It's like, oh, well, this won't work for the human because their eyes burnt. They have allergic reaction.
I
Disgusting.
know.
Terrible.
It's terrible. I mean, having volunteered with animals and dogs, and I remember we
Having
got,
been a bunny mom for a month, I feel that.
what did you say?
As a bunny mom for a month, I feel
Oh,
that.
yes. Yeah. No, and like we had some dogs that was so sad, and they were dogs that had never seen the day of light because they were doing animal testing, so they didn't know what it was like to have human warmth or touch or anything. It was very sad,
Disgusting.
very sad.
Not worth
So
it. I don't need to wear that makeup. I'll go make
yeah,
a
so
really
I might need to get rid of all my MAC, but it's I have so much. It's
I
like,
know.
yeah, the only thing I mean, I haven't bought eyeshadows from them in a long time, but when she told me, no,
Don't
don't
buy
get
any more. Like keep what you have.
animal testing, and they do that, they do say that at Sephora, this is no animal testing, or this
And
is,
that's what you need if it says that.
yeah. And I mean, it's interesting in my day how they didn't talk about animal testing. They didn't talk about where to get your makeup. It was just get this makeup. And like I said, department stores and pharmacies, that was it. And there weren't Sephora's or anything. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else about the,
What else? I mean, I think what were the major skincare brands back then, would you say?
well, I don't remember. I mean, for,
I
for,
guess Estee Lauder, right?
well, I mean, there was
Clinique,
pomade, which pomade or what was pomade? Like, I don't know, like
that's
really
hair
old.
stuff. Clinique was like a big one.
Lancome. You're talking about
Right.
makeup.
Right. Anything, makeup and skincare. I guess those were the
Lancome,
big players. And you'd get them at
Maybelline.
like, you get them at Macy's or like Nordstrom's or Lord and Taylor, right?
Right,
Like the makeup counters,
right,
which is
right,
now you go into just like a Sephora or an Ulta.
right,
So
right.
different.
You
I like
could
that
even
MAC is still at Nordstrom's
you
and
can
stuff.
still buy makeup in Target. You can buy
Yeah.
makeup.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible. I mean, I'm going to CVS now, and even CVS is
right,
dangerous as hell. I'm like, I just
right.
need toilet paper, but somehow I'm gonna end up in the makeup aisle. It's like a drug. I love drugstore makeup. It's just as good. And I'm like, I want to go see this and this. And
Yeah,
even that adds up. It's cheap, but it adds up.
I know, I know. I'll find out the name. Drew Barrymore. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's awesome. The other thing I want to talk about is like in your day now versus my day, we didn't, I don't even know if we had Botox and fillers and fake eyelashes.
Botox was always around, but probably not.
Botox was always, because
I
I'm
think
looking at fake eyelashes, that was always around. The red light therapy wasn't, and fillers and Botox. Like, what's your thought? Those are,
Botox has been around for, I think, 100 years or something. I think
has
Botox,
it really?
I
Wow.
think it's been around for a while. People got facelifts back then and filler. I think all of the cosmetic procedures have been around a long time. I do think like the new stuff like red light therapy, blue light therapy, micro needling, like those really deep skin stuff, chemical peels,
Yes.
that might be
Yeah.
new. That might be as the
Well, and
science progresses.
yeah, and I also feel like growing up, like my grandmother, she lived to be 100, God bless her. She had a facelift, maybe when she was 50 or 60 years old. I don't even know. I don't know. All I know is in those days, anything like that was hush hush, right? The old time movie stars. My grandmother was new Lucille Ball, like those kinds of people in the old Hollywood, they didn't tell their secrets. They looked glamorous, like Zsa Zsa Gabor, but they didn't say all this stuff. Today I was watching online people of your age showing how to get Botox. It's not like a taboo. It's like everyone's talking about it like like working out, like going to the gym. Oh,
Right.
I'm doing my Botox. And they're taking it a step further and showing it. Like, in my day it was all about let's work out, let's get into fitness, let's get physical, like Olivia Newton-John and all that kind of stuff. Now it's like all this stuff that you thought people would not speak about in my parents' generation or my grandparents' generation. It's on the table. Or maybe it wasn't developed back then, but they wouldn't be talking about facelifts back then. Oh, I just did a facelift. You should get yours.
Right.
Now
Crazy.
everyone openly does it with no shame, just like they talk about sperm banks and stuff. Everything has changed and evolved. And the one thing is, I wonder if you think it's too much showing the procedures of the Botox, showing the procedures of, you know,
And people get addicted because you have it
movement.
at your hands disposal, like all the RNs on TikTok, on Instagram, posting the procedures, and then you get addicted to watching. And there's such an influx of, well, this Botox is the best, this filler, do it in this eyes. You can get filler in your boob, in your butt. It's just like all too much. And like with that
Right,
influx, it's overwhelming. It's like where to start. If there's always the next best thing, the next best procedure, it's like
right,
when is enough enough? It's just a lot.
exactly. Yeah, so I find, or people are going to other countries to have
Yeah,
procedures done, and then they end up dying because it's cheaper.
right.
Like the butt lifts, or we've seen that over the years,
Yeah.
over this past year. So it's just, to me, it's gotten to be an extreme, and
Mhm.
I'm like, when is enough to not enough? Like,
Right.
you
And I
know,
think the best procedures to get are ones that make you just stay looking youthful, that don't try to change your face. Because the
right?
best thing to do is eat healthy, work out, wear
Drink
sunscreen, and
water.
drink water, and you'll be youthful forever. You just keep up with that. Like my tailor, he's amazing. God bless. He's going to be 90 in June. He's
Oh
still
my,
my tailor,
oh my gosh.
altering everything. Shout out Luigi. He's incredible. And he said he eats healthy. He stays, mind sharp, all that stuff. And it's true. I just think that you want to get work done that makes you look young, that keeps you looking how you look, doesn't alter your face, because that's when you
I
get
agree.
wild. Like Lisa Rinna today, she said she's getting her filler dissolved because she looks wild.
Why? Where's her filler?
She
In her
does
lip?
not look good, Lisa Rinna. No, her whole face got done with filler, and she said
What?
her skin didn't take well to it, so she's getting it removed. I'll show you.
Ew.
Yeah,
I
let's.
thought she just got something in her lips. What is she
No, she
doing?
got like her whole face. Let's see. Lisa Rinna. Look it up quickly before we wrap up. Let's see. Mm. I'm sure she wouldn't post like the bad look of herself, but yeah, but it was just crazy. You know, she's getting it dissolved now because she noticed it was just like not, you know, she overdid it here. So it's just crazy, but people just go wild, and they need to find a doctor who won't just put anything in their face, but will
Right.
stop them and say like, see, she just looks overdone. You can't really
Ew.
see through the
Ew.
phone.
No, I can see right here. She put it in her cheekbones. You know who else looks really overdone? Demi Moore.
No, I
Demi,
think Demi Moore looks beautiful. Really?
I saw her well, she was talking on TV and it looked like her cheekbones right here.
Man, I disagree with that one. That's so crazy. I thought she looked gorgeous. I saw her the other day. She was like
So Lisa Rinna, where's her problem with her lips and
everywhere. Like her skin looks all saggy and crazy and like almost like
how do
rough
you take it
from
out? How do
filler.
you
You can dissolve it. I don't know, but you
oh
can.
my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But you look great. And
Oh,
yeah, you have no lines right here because you got
I
some
did a little teeny bit right there. That's it. I'm a
good.
baby. Can you tell?
Yeah, I don't think there's any lines there. I think your 11s were a little bit more prompt before.
I think so. Although I was told I can't do my forehead because with the eyes, the way my eyes are, there's a chance they could be slump. Like if you do your forehead, people don't realize the
But
Botox.
forehead snatch you, and that's what I want. I want my
Right.
eyebrows to
But
be
what
snatched.
she said is right in here, my eye tends to be the way it is. I have a lot of expression, movement. So if I try to do that at having Botox here on your forehead, your eye starts to sink. It could sink and be like droopy. So I don't know. I don't know. But she said get bangs. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you. But anyway, this was a really good discussion. I do want to discuss other things like health and wellness, fitness. We both love our workouts with Brooke Burke and of course Amanda Klutz you did. I would love to have a conversation about working out next week. I think that would be a fun topic.
Yeah,
What
maybe
do
we
I
can
can
get
do
Brooke
this?
on one day if she has any free time.
Oh my gosh, that
Talk
would be
about some
amazing.
fitness. Yeah,
I think we should do that.
we should
You
ask her
should
one
ask her because you see her in person.
day.
Maybe you should
I'll ask.
ask.
But
Ask.
yeah, I think this is kind of wraps up our mother-daughter talk, and we can move on to some reality TV.
Sounds good. So we're going to be talking about Vanderpump Rules today. And I thought, wow, so you think we could dance is not on this week. It's going to be hard to fill it, but we have a lot to fill our stuff with this
Yeah.
week. Just the Vanderpump alone and these new headlines. And then we're going to share something at the end, which is a fun topic to do. So I would like to start with saying the things about Vanderpump that I liked this week were the excitement of shock value, things that are not just the repetitive, oh, Tom Sandoval cheated. Oh, Ariana's upset. I really wanted to delve into it and really talk about how I felt it kept my attention this week because I felt like I saw a different part of Lala. I felt like we got to learn more about her wanting to be more mature, being more, um, real about let's move on. Let's really try to, forgive and let's try to understand sides of people's stories without just creating drama. So I like that very much. One of my examples is she started with Joe, talking to Joe about her relationship with Tom Sandoval. Tom and Joe are friends.
No,
And
Tom Schwartz.
I meant Tom Schwartz. Sorry. See, I get these guys confused, but I know, yes, I meant Tom Schwartz. And they've had a really great friendship. And apparently what we saw was Joe is more vested in him than he is in her as a romantic part. What's your feel for that? Because Lala was talking to her about it, and I believe the other women, not so much Sheena, but I think the other one,
Katie.
Katie, got mad that she had that conversation. Can you tell the viewers, people that don't watch it, why Katie got mad and what your thoughts were regarding that interaction?
So Joe is, a friend of Tom Schwartz, and his ex-wife Katie is also on the show. And Katie hates Joe. She calls her a crackhead. She calls her creepy because apparently she was friends with their mutual friend Kristen, was supportive of Katie during her divorce. And then as soon as the divorce happened, she moved in with Tom, became his best friend, knew about the affair with Tom Sandoval and Raquel, and was just sneaky and behind the scenes doing things. But the funniest, well, it's sad actually, because you see Joe really likes Tom Schwartz and he's like, we're not together, we're not dating, you're just my friend. He went to a singles event and she was there
Right.
too. She's just so quirky, and like, I do think she's harmless, but Lala sat down with her to kind of hear her side of the story because Joe felt ganged up and bullied by Sheena and the girls at these events. She feels like Tom Schwartz is keeping her a secret, but he's saying that they never dated. She's saying that we were dating, but he was hiding it and keeping it a secret. She claims that she had no idea Ariana and Tom Sandoval were together, and she just thought she wasn't paying attention to Raquel hanging out with him. But it just feels like grimy. Like if you're a girl and you're secretly dating a guy who used to be friends with his ex-wife and you're hanging out with the other Tom who's having an affair, like I don't trust her. And I don't think she's malicious about it, but I just think she's kind of like do and like too quirky.
Everyone's got to accept me, and what did I do wrong? And so she had an affair with Tom.
The other Tom, obviously Raquel and Tom were having the affair and Joe was hanging out with them a couple of times. So how did
Right,
you not know?
right. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So then do you think
But Lala was being soft and being nice and met with
that's what I was trying
her
to
out.
say.
And
Right.
Katie was angry, and Katie was super angry about that. And she was like, I'm your friend. I can't trust you. You don't have loyalty. Why would you meet with an outsider? And Lala was kind of like, I can do whatever I want. It's not like I took this girl swimming around my kid. It was just one lunch filmed, obviously, for the show. So Katie
And
and Ariana want them, everybody that they don't like, wipe your hands of them and don't talk to them, don't speak to them. But like, why? We're filming a show.
Ariana's like that too, right?
Yeah.
Ariana doesn't like Joey either.
No.
And, what it was interesting is that, yeah, so that was a little bit of drama, but it made it interesting because it wasn't the same drama with the same two women. I felt it was a little more interesting that Lala came into play with that. And then Sheena on this episode seemed to be more just the listener on this show, the stand-up friend for everybody. She, accompanied Lala to the sperm bank, which can I say with the sperm bank, it was so like not productive. Like they didn't show much. Like the guy sat down with them, said what's going to happen very quickly, and then left. It felt too staged. It didn't feel like we had enough info into what's going on. I know Lala said going forward, she wants to take people into her journey.
Well, next week we see the sperm donor party. And so she picks her
Okay.
donor. She talks more about it. You see her looking at the sperm at the bank. But yeah, it's just crazy to me because if you think about it, you could pick sperm that has been there for years so that your baby was born actually this one, I don't know how it works, but I know
Oh,
this
could have
one
been made
couple,
years ago.
yeah, I don't know how long sperm lasts, but I do know like one couple took sperm that was given in like 1989. So technically your baby was supposed to be born in 89, right? But it's
Oh,
actually being
that's
born in
so
2020.
cool.
Isn't that crazy to
That
think
is
about?
very cool. Yes. It's just like frozen in time.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
And so what I don't understand is, but when they met and sat, I know they're going to do more over time. Why wasn't there more of that interaction
Just
with them?
editing. They didn't find it interesting, I guess. But I think
To
that's
me,
where,
it would have been.
yeah.
It was stupid because that to me is like you didn't finish that. You didn't follow it through. That's one thing with Vanderpump. I feel like there's a lot of things they start to delve into and then they kind of backstep it out, and you're supposed to just assume that they'll bring it up another point or you don't need to see the rest of it, and it's kind of disappointing. So I found that disappointing. I was like, wait, there's not very much to it. The other thing was interesting that I thought was exciting and funny and different was the fact that Tom Schwartz was dating a woman that Katie was dating. So Katie is supposed to now be bisexual or
Mhm.
just interested for the first time in women. I mean, I don't know when this came up, but it's bad enough she was married to this guy. Now she wants the same person as this guy has. Like, so tell me a little bit about that. Like with the
Yeah,
whole
I think she just thinks it's funny that it's competitive. I think It's just weird because, well, now Tom Schwartz has a lovely girlfriend who's young and pretty. And
He
so
said that on after what you think it happened after live. Who does he have?
this girl, I think her name is like Sophia. She's like an influencer. She's only like 20 something. She's really
How old
young.
is
He's
he?
41. He's
Oh my
44.
God.
She's in her 20s. But it's just funny because this looks like a girl that Katie really can't say anything about. Like, he has a girlfriend. He's happy. She's young. She's an influencer. Like, what is Katie going to say to her? Katie can't put her down. Katie can't call her a crackhead. Katie can't steal her. So I think Katie has to, for the first time, be like, not meddle in her ex-husband's life. Like, he has a legit girlfriend. And so she
Wait,
can't get in
but
the way.
how did he get a legit girlfriend at the last episode?
Well, because
How-
this was filmed months ago. He has a girlfriend
okay.
now.
So like the girlfriend now, this is how many months after?
Maybe
Like,
February. Maybe they only started dating a few months ago.
so him and Joe are not going to be dating ever.
No, she's at the
Right.
reunion. So we'll see what she says at the reunion.
When is the reunion again?
Probably in May. Whenever the season ends, they air the
Okay.
reunion. But people are really against Lala, and they say that Lala is bitter and jealous of Ariana. She actually just unfollowed Ariana and Katie, but I don't think she's bitter. I think she's asking the questions that everybody's thinking about. Like, why are you still living with your ex?
Right.
Katie, why are you coming at me for growing up and being mature and not being miserable and wanting to, be a mean girl and attack? Like, Lala's in motherhood. Her and Sheena have that bond that they're both moms, so their perspectives are different. Their importances are different, like their priorities. So you can't expect her to be angry and come at people for you.
I feel, yeah, and I feel like they should. And again, I didn't want to watch it. I watched one episode. I feel like they need to pivot over to the Valley.
Yeah.
Tina and Lala. I don't think they should be on this episode. They've kind of transitioned now into, like you said, that whole motherly, um, situational thing that even if there's conflict and issues come up, that would be better served on the Valley. They're just hanging around and they want to be like, be with the old gang, but they're in a whole different view of life now. They're
Right.
in a whole different transition of going into motherhood again for Lala. And also, Sheena's now, her daughter's a little bit older. She has a toddler. So they're past all that stuff. It
Right.
kind of feels like, should they transition and go into the other show? Do you have any ideas why they're not going to do that? Maybe that will
Because they're
change.
just the stars of Vanderpump Rules. It was supposed to be a spinoff. I
Oh,
told you in 2020 there was going to be
yes.
a spinoff, and then everything went to shit with the pandemic and the firings. But I do think they belong on the Valley. And they said that there's going to be some crossovers and that they'd love to do both shows. But I
Yeah.
just, you're right. I don't think they fit into Vanderpump anymore. It's a different era. Katie, the Toms, Ariana, they're either single or none of them have kids. So it's just a
Right.
different vibe versus. But
Right.
we can't have a show with Tom, Katie, and Ariana, two exes,
Right.
four people who are all exes now. So I
Right.
have no idea. I don't know. This might be Vanderpump's last season. Sheena and Lala should go to the Valley. I
I
completely
know.
agree. Maybe Ariana and Katie can have their own show about something. The
Yeah.
sandwich shop that might never open.
I know. It just amazes me that this show is still on. And then you look at something like a talk show like The Talk, which is new, new dialogue, interesting. There's always entertainment things and things in the media news, and it's not boring. You might not like every guest, but it's always something new. Vanderpump is kind of like still keeps getting renewed, but it's just like old after a while. You just don't feel like hearing about all these people after a while.
Right. I
No?
mean, yeah, both Toms have girlfriends now. I just think everybody's in a different direction. It's not authentic. They're not real friends. So why are we watching these friend groups be together? It's just awkward.
And do you think that maybe Peter, one of the reasons they they didn't want Peter on the show, not just because he's telling people that they're not paying him, but also because the fact that they don't want to bring it back to the bar
Yeah,
because like that's where the
everyone's
show
left.
started, the bar.
Well,
And
everyone's
now,
left now. They've all grown up. Nobody works at the restaurant. So
but
yeah,
go there for a drink, go there for dinner, go there to see
well, they
Lisa, go
do. We
there
see that throughout the scene.
when James
Yeah,
plays. Yeah,
yeah.
because James is still there,
Oh,
right?
right. What about James? You're right. So see, Vanderpump Rules should be James and Allie and like their friends and their
Right.
age.
And
And
I
then
was going to say they're boring right now. There's nothing exciting about these two. That was one of the things I was going to bring up on this week's episode that I feel like there needs to be more fluff for James and Allie. I don't know. They're just sitting in the background. Like everything's great. Not that we want them to
well, that's
break up.
good because James has had such a terrible run of it.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I would say for Vanderbilt. They need to do a couple modifications, bring some old people in, new people out, and put
It
them over
never works when they bring in new people because it's not authentic. Like, but the thing is,
Yeah.
it worked because all these people were really a friend group. Now we're floating apart. So I don't know where we go from here. It's
Well, maybe they take the Valley people and bring them into the Vanderpump, and you get to see kind of like, a formation of them together.
right. Well, Lala and Sheena are actually friends with the Valley women and the men.
Okay.
So that would be a real friend group. So
Yeah.
something has to give. I don't think the sandwich shop is ever going to open. I think it's so funny that Katie and Tom are vying for the same girl, but I'm excited to see the sperm donor party and Lala's process of that. I think that's honestly the most interesting
That's
thing
fun.
happening. Sheena's a great friend, and I really want to see like that dynamic with their kids and stuff.
I agree. I agree.
Well, I think that's it for Vanderpump. Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
I think that next week the Think You Can Dance episode should be back. So we'll talk about that. We'll follow along with Vanderpump. And I'm going to be just looking for topics that stick out in our minds that are important. I'm really, really sad that the talk is not going to be on after next year. So happy and thankful I got to be on it with you, in the audience.
Yeah.
And I
So
think that's
fun.
about it.
Yeah.
We have a busy weekend, my weekend. I think you're doing something for the weekend, a red carpet event.
Mhm.
I have an important thing to go to as well. A fun,
What? Oh, a
well,
baby.
I'm going to an actual christening for a baby that is miraculously here after being hit when he was in his mom's belly a few months after she was pregnant, hit by a drunk driver, and they both survived. And so I'm going to be meeting this wonderful, handsome little guy this weekend. It's almost like going to be like a wedding more so because no
What?
one's had, it's going to be like a wedding, like going to a wedding reception because
Mm,
there's hundreds of people going. It's
wow.
not like 20 people. It's going to be like over 100 people. Nobody's met the baby and they
You have to
moved.
FaceTime me. Definitely FaceTime me when you
Yes, because they moved to South Carolina.
What is
to
it,
try-
Saturday or is it
It's
Sunday?
Sunday.
Oh,
Sunday. Saturday night, I'm going to see a couple of comedians.
nice.
A friend of ours that we met, Yvonne and I and Dad, over Christmas, New Year's Eve at the same place where we met this really nice woman, and now we're all getting together with her to watch a fun show and have some dinner and drinks. So we're looking
Love
forward to
that.
that. And then
Yeah,
tomorrow I got to go pick up window treatments. I got to pick out for my window downstairs. Nothing exciting, but just a lot of errands and stuff for the house.
but we'll be back next week and we have lots more to discuss.
And hopefully no depressing, no deaths, and no hot topics that are
Terrible.
depressing. Just all positive, good stuff like
Yes.
marriages and births and nobody breaking up, and maybe we'll even get to have more about the sperm donor right from Vanderpump
Yeah, we
Rules.
definitely will. It's going to be the sperm donor partay.
Okay. All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Bye, guys.
Bye.